Deafening Silence ASMR here, back with another video for you after a few days, and a new Pokemon video. And as the title would suggest, as a longtime Pokemon fan who went back to the very beginning with the cards, all the different merchandise, playing the games back then up through now, watching the first 2 or 3 seasons or so of the anime, not once have I ever read the original Pokemon Adventures manga by Hidenori Kusaka and the art by Mewtwo. This is very revered by a lot of Pokemon fans that have been around for a long time. And for those who may not be familiar with this, it follows the adventures of Red, not Ash, and his rival Blue, not Gary, similar to the original Nintendo games. A lot of Pokemon fans have said that they much prefer Red to Ash, and he is a much more competent trainer. And the story in general is better than the one that's in the anime. And this collection has the first 3 volumes in it. So I thought we could take a look at this today and see what it's like. I'm sure there's a lot of Pokemon fans like me that have not seen this. Now, this is 650 pages. So this is not going to be a typical first impressions video. We're going to kind of flip around through this thing and see some of the key moments, like his first encounters with Brock and Misty, or Pikachu, his battle against Giovanni, if he wins, if he becomes the Pokemon League champion, and who are his team members. And if you want to see a first impressions video of this, where I read through everything kind of page to page, let me know. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this and see what is contained in these pages. So as I mentioned, we're just going to kind of be flipping through this thing, and I already have a little bit, and it's very nice. And yeah, there's 40 chapters in this thing. It is a hoss, as I mentioned, with it being 3 volumes. This covers all the way through. The Pokemon League's a little bit different here. He doesn't actually face the Elite Four in this yet. It gets all the way to him battling Blue, and then he will take on the Elite Four in the next volume, I believe. Like I said, he's much better than Ash at first. He's more competent, though he still has some catching up to do to Blue. Team Rocket makes a very early appearance in this manga. They play a key part of this, and something else that you'll notice as we get later in here. Yep, Mew makes a very early appearance. He's is more of a key role in this story, and they're trying to get it. And yes, Red already has a Pokemon. It is a Poliwhirl. He does get it as a Poliwag. You don't see that in this. It's discussed later. And then Red, or Blue rather, he already has his first Pokemon. It's a Charmander. And here we have some nice Zipatone on the art. And yeah, with the Pokeballs here, they actually show the Pokemon inside. That's something cool as well. Red kind of breaks in, of sorts. Accidentally frees the Pokemon and Oaks, of course, up 6. Now they have to go capture everything again. And we got a Machoke showing up. The Machoke was fixing to get Red, and then Bulbasaur stops him. And this very strong Bulbasaur knocks out the Machoke, and of course Red tells Professor Oak that he was actually wanting to learn how to be a better Pokemon trainer, and he gets the Pokedex and starts off on his journey. So, yes, as is in the video game, Blue will have the type advantage over Ash, or not Ash, Red. But yeah, Poliwhirl on the Bulbasaur for his first Pokemon. And similar to the anime, with Ash, Red tries to pick a fist fight. And here we have a Kangaskhan, very early strong Pokemon making an entrance, and they want to try and fight. But Red kind of stops him from doing it because there's a baby. Whether that is a Cubone or not, I don't know. We can discuss that later. And here we have the first appearance of Pikachu. Now, Pikachu plays an important role in the manga, just like the anime, though not quite as important. The other Pokemon still are very much taking the main spotlight. And much like the anime as well, this Pikachu at first is very mischievous. You can see here they have the actual sprite from the video game. And it actually shows the attacks that it has: Thunder Shock, Thunder Wave, and Quick Attack. Some decent moves to start off with. But yes, this Pikachu is mischievous at first, much like Ash's in the anime. And this Bob Pikachu came out of Viridian Forest to live in the city. And we get them talking here before they square off. Gary, or Blue, gives a little bit of a brief summary about the badges, and like the Boulder badge, and it can give an attack boost to your Pokemon, which is something that happens in the video game, but it's just kind of, an RPG video game thing. But here it's like they have more of a actual magical property of sorts, and they're going to have a competition to see who can beat Brock and get the badge first. And the Pewter City Pokemon Center is down, so Red has no choice but to go in with Pikachu against Brock. So a little bit different than the anime. Kind of has like a good reason behind it. And Poliwhirl is weak at this point, but it is able to use some moves to take out the Pokemon in this gym. But Brock, as you can see here, has Onix, Geodude, and Graveler. Kind of lead off with Onix here. And things aren't going so well. Pikachu's actually attacking Red. And here comes Onix with a mighty Skull Bash. Red saves Pikachu from the attack. Pikachu recognizes that, and he, or it, her, I can't remember if it's what's canon as far as what the gender of the Pikachu is, but Pikachu comes up and basically just blasts Onix into different pieces. Murders it, Nuzlocke style. And that is how I keep saying Ash, that is how Red gets his first badge. Pikachu, of course, is still mischievous towards Red, but now we move forward and we have Misty battling off against a Gyarados. In this manga, she actually likes Gyarados, and this is hers. But the Rockets have been messing with it. And Ash, if I say Ash one more time, Red helps her battle it and capture it back in a Pokeball. And because of what's going on, they decide to team up together and go after Team Rocket in Mount Moon. And they're wanting to go after a Moonstone. And so they do team up on that. And the next chapter is Raging Rhydon, because they do end up encountering Team Rocket. And they have a Rhyhorn, as you see there. And it's a pretty strong Rhyhorn. But Team Rocket decides to inject this Rhyhorn with something and make it a powerful Rhydon. And so commences the battle. And comes in. And this Pikachu is a little bit OP because it's able to blast right on, and they managed to escape. And as you can see there's Koga making a first appearance. And this is kind of a spoiler for later in the story, but since you're seeing Koga, yes, he is a part of Team Rocket. In this manga, in this particular universe, the gym leaders here, a lot of them in the manga, they're not good people. And actually 3 of them work for Team Rocket. You'll see who they are later. And there's Misty. She's basically like royalty here of sorts. And we got a Gyarados scale. That's something that's not in the games. Flipping through, she lets me know that, she's the gym leader and they're fighting, and she tells them she's going tough on them because they're going to have to be to go against Rockets. And she kind of goes ahead and gives him a badge here. I don't know if it's really shown, but then we get the infamous scene where Bill gets himself turned into a Pokemon. It's a Rattata. And they have this big old experience with the Pharaoh who once said Rattata Bill. And this would have been humorous if this had been something that they could have put into the video game. But so in this story, he manages to save Bill, but for the SS Anne, he has to sneak on. He's not given just a straight up ticket onto it. And there's the leader of the Pokemon fan club. He makes an appearance here. He likes his Pokemon until he finds out he uses them for battling. And he's exploring. He's trying to find out some more information about the Rockets, and he comes to what he thinks is Pokeballs there. They are not. They are Voltorps. And then he runs into Lieutenant Surge, and Lieutenant Surge at the SS Anne is actually his ship. And in this story, Lieutenant Surge actually has an Electabuzz, like he should. I'm in full support of that. And so they battle. And things are getting kind of dicey. And Red is really having a tough time, gets knocked overboard off the ship into the water, and Poliwag previously had saved him and evolved into a Poliwhirl. So what's happening this time? We get the mighty Poliwrath. And Poliwrath is able to take care of Electabuzz, and with a seismic toss, send Lieutenant Surge and Electabuzz flying over the ship. And as you see here, the chairman's Abra had evolved into an Alakazam, and I guess he didn't like that, which is dumb of him. He's pretty stupid. So now we have an encounter with Snorlax. Red is in a Pokeathlon of sorts. So now we have an encounter with Snorlax. Red's participating in a tri-Pokemon or Pokeathlete of sorts. And he's doing pretty well. He's using this Pokemon to his advantage, as he should. And when he thinks he's going to win, $10,000 or 10,000 Pokédollars and Pokemon items, blam. Giant old Snorlax. And Poliwrath tries to attack and just bounces off. And he uses Bulbasaur with Beedrill honey to try and entice Snorlax to wake up. And he does. And it's not shown here, but he actually captures the Snorlax. So now we have Lavender Town and Lavender Tower and the ghosts. And yeah, this progresses a little bit differently than the game. There's a lot of encounters here, and Red definitely does not get the gym badges in order like you would in game. And yes, we have something that would come from Five Nights at Freddy's, I think, with the evil spirits of Psyduck. And then we start getting Slowpoke or Slowbro, and then we see that Blue has been possessed. And he has a Charmeleon at this point. And yeah, and then we see a Ghastly is involved. Great thing to read right before Halloween. And Bulbasaur's doing his deal, helping out. And there we see Koga making like a first full appearance. And as I mentioned, he is a part of Team Rocket. He's got a Vegeta complex going on, thinking he's so cool. And there's a Arbok. And now Red and Blue have to work together. They're calling them zombies. And this is like the ending of the first volume, basically, and it shows kind of like a recap of everything that happened as we now head into the second volume, the War Turtle Wars. Now this is where Green makes an appearance. This is where she comes into the story, and she's pretty important. She, of course, for longtime Pokemon fans and knowing this, she was one of the games for Japan before it came over to the US. And she was meant to be an equal to Red and Blue, but she just kind of got cut out when it came time for it to be in the US, and she's never really had a prominent role since. And she's a trickster here. She's kind of scamming Red out of his money. So you see Pikachu here's got a bunch of different worthless items on him. We get Bulbasaur evolving into an Ivysaur. Although it looks a lot like Venusaur already. Red's in pursuit of Green, trying to get her. As I mentioned, she's got a Wartortle, I think. And she shows it off, but there's Red with his Snorlax. And they do have nicknames. It shows at the end of the book. And there was a mention that Squirtle was stolen from Professor Oak, and of course Red thinks possibly this is what happened. Green does manage to steal his gym badges, his 2 gym badges. And as you see here, yes, Red is going incognito as one of the Rockets to try and find her, because they are after Green as well. And here we get the first appearance of Mewtwo. Of course, Mewtwo will play an important role in this. And you might notice there in the corner, that is Blaine. Blaine plays an important role in this manga as well. And here we got Machamp, Hitmonlee. And for some reason it never occurred to me, because I've never seen it in the anime, that Hitmonlee's legs look like that because they're coiled and they can reach out. Like, this was the first time I was ever noticing that. Anyway. Yeah, she's pulling her old trickster schemes here. We got a Tauros. We have Red showing up to confront her, but now having to help her. We see a Ditto. And she will use Ditto as a decoy, you'll see. She thought of an idea to have it turn into a Mew to distract Team Rocket, because now they're going to go try to capture the Mew. And there's one last appearance at Mewtwo for now. just a big crazy chase ensues, and finally they're able to escape, and she does give back his gym badges, and now we have chapter 18. Blue gets himself a Porygon from the game corner, and they accidentally get all their Pokemon knocked out, and they don't realize that they accidentally got each other's Pokemon in a battle, and they're not listening to each other, of course. But Blue, being the better trainer at this point, is able to do more with his Pokemon that are Reds, and he encounters the mighty and awesome Ninetales, and he teaches Pikachu Toxic. And through the course of events, Red eventually shows up, and Blue's Machoke evolves into a Machamp, and through that, Blue's able to get his Ninetales. Here's a bunch of stuff with Eevee, and this is frustrating because nobody in this manga actually uses Eevee. I think Red is able to get one, he just doesn't use it. You see the 3 different evolutions here. Of course, Eevee's being a fan favorite, you'd think they'd have had the foresight to throw it in there, but it was a mutated Eevee of sorts, or one that had some reconstruction done to it. And yes, Erika is involved with this. Like I said, the gym leaders are not very nice, but it all was a ploy. Again, she's not working for Team Rocket, but it was connected. Let's put it that way. And of course, Red gets his gym badge from her. And there you see Sabrina. Sabrina is also a part of Team Rocket in this. And there's Long Live the Nidoking. This is the Safari Zone. And Nidoking plays a very important role in this chapter, though it's frustrating because Nidoking does not make Red's final team. Sorry to say. He should, because he's that awesome. But yeah, Red's in the Safari Zone. He doesn't have his Pokemon. He's trying to capture a mighty Nidoking by itself. And in the course of things, he manages to escape, but then a Victreebel shows up. Big old Victreebel. And Victreebel is able to capture it with his vines and eat Red. Starts walking off, but he's able to get himself out. And Nidoking shows back up eventually. And this is interesting because they mentioned that Nidoking thinks Victreebel has its food, referring to Red, so the Pokemon here eat humans. In the manga, it's implied. But Red's able to be smart and use the Victreebel, or use the Nidoking to attack the Victreebel, catches it. Victreebel also does not show up on Red's team. Sad to say. But don't worry, Red gets some awesome Pokemon. But yes, he's able to eventually catch both Nidoking and Victreebel, and by the course of things, by the end of it, capture all these Pokemon. He says you should have seen the ones that got away. And now we have our first appearance of Giovanni. And he runs into Red, and he doesn't really know what's went on with Red so far, I don't think. And they have an experience with Magmar. And see a little Sandshrew here, and little Sandshrew is able to do a lot of cool stuff to get these Magmar taken care of. Red won't finish him off, and so Giovanni thinks he's weak and thinks he's definitely not the one that's a threat. To Team Rocket, anyway. Then we have a big encounter with Dragonite. And Dragonite's underwater. Makes sense because Dratini and Dragonair are like that. Just got this big old fight going on. And Snorlax is having a problem with him. And things get crazy, but then Misty shows up with her Gyarados. And there's a big fight that happens there, and they're able to take care of the Dragonite, though no one catches it, which is stupid. And now we have an appearance of Articuno. And then Misty lets Red borrow Gyarados, which means Gyarados is now a full part of Red's squad. That's pretty freaking cool. And now we have Muck. Muck is an antagonist that constantly shows up with Team Rocket. And they have Articuno. It's frozen. Articuno dislikes confrontation when it senses the presence of an enemy. It seals itself in ice. And again, another big fight happens. Articuno does break free of its ice, and it does help them out in taking out Team Rocket, though no one gets to catch it, which makes sense. It's a legendary. And now we have Moltres. And here's where Blaine shows up in the story. And of course, he's a fire type user. He's got a powerful Rapidash and Ninetales, but Team Rocket has a Gengar that is holding back things. Gengar, of course, is a favorite. As you can see there's Blaine. And Blaine's a traitor. He used to work for Team Rocket. He was a big part of the research for Mew. That's going to show up here in a little bit. And Rapidash is, of course, helping them out and escape and everything. And here's Moltres. And now they're fighting the Moltres. Team Rocket happen to have the legendary birds on their side. Because, of course, they did. Team Rocket's a lot more dangerous in this adventure. And they managed to escape. Giovanni had handed Red something, which was a fossil. Well, I don't think he anticipated that Blaine would happen to know about all this stuff and come in contact with Red and give him what he needs in order to revive said fossil. So Rapidash gives him the book about revivification, however you say that. And of course it was an old ember, so we get the mighty all-powerful Aerodactyl. Yes, so in a couple of chapters, Red gets himself a Gyarados and a Aerodactyl. And Aerodactyl promptly helps him out. As you can see there's Moltres again, there's Mewtwo. And Sabrina makes another appearance. And now you see here is the triad of sorts. It is Koga, it is Sabrina, and it is Lieutenant Surge. And of course, Giovanni's at the head of things. And Blaine was someone that used to work for him and defected. So it's like either the gym leaders were against Team Rocket or for them in this story. Like it's an all-encompassing story that's not really present in the video games, of course. Green makes another appearance. Blue's got a Charizard now. You don't see that earlier in the story, but they do have a Charizard. So everybody's got a flyer at this point. And through the course of things, they see that Sabrina has been able to pull some trickery. And everybody's basically going to get separated and have to fight like different people. But eventually, Red and Blue decide here that they're going to have to team up. And we got the end of Volume 2. And now we're going to head into Volume 3, which is, of course, the last volume. Piece of Mime. I honestly skipped over a lot of this when I was reading through this because I don't like Mr. Mime. headed on their way to where the rest of Team Rocket is. And here's Lieutenant Surge. And as I mentioned, everybody's going to get separated. But yeah, Lieutenant Surge, Koga, and of course Sabrina, they're all going to show up. Lieutenant Surge is over here with Voltorbs as like a bandolier. And he has a freaking rocket launcher. And a Magneton, of course. So Koga has his Muck as his special Pokemon. And, of course, Lieutenant Surge has Zapdos. We captured it at the abandoned power plant, and the legends proved to be true. So he's got Zapdos and Electabuzz and some very powerful Pokemon. And Blue is facing off against Koga with the Scyther. That leaves Green having to battle against Sabrina. And she has got a Blastoise at this point. She's a competent enough trainer that even though she, as we'll find out, stole that Squirtle, of course, she was able to get it to a Blastoise. And Red's trying to figure out what to do. He gets, to the course of things, Lieutenant Surge to get electrocuted. And that's how he wins. And he gets the Thunder Badge. Blue's really struggling against Koga here. We see the Articuno make another appearance. And this is Koga's Articuno. Yeah, that's something crazy that happens here. The Triad has 4 badges, and because they have 4 badges, they can control Articuno and make it do whatever they want it to do. And yeah, the fight gets pretty crazy. And we have Green, of course, still dealing with Sabrina. And she kind of escapes. She doesn't really beat her so much as she escapes with her usual trickery. And so it looks like Red is cornered. They have all the legendary birds. But now Brock has shown up with his Onix. And of course, now we have Misty showing up as well, and Erika. And the Pokemon badges, they play a very important part here. We've long known that we needed all the badges to combine Pokemon powers. And yeah, all these guys, this is just an insane thing where it's like, as you can see here, Clefable is using Metronome to choose actually whatever move it wants to use. And that's how it's taking out these legendary Pokemon, battling against them. And now we have the 3 starter Pokemon showing up to do their thing. And Ivysaur is feeling a little bit left out. So we get him evolving into the Mighty Venusaur, and now they're all attacking. Basically, they managed to rescue everything, but now we have a fight with Mewtwo. So basically, the mighty Mewtwo shows up, giant whirlwind. It's taking care of Red's Pokemon. As you can see here, they're all like hanging on to each other, trying to survive. And Blaine is here trying to figure out what to do. I've got to defeat the thing that's forming it. There's no other way. So they figure out what to do, and they're able to get to Mewtwo. And if you look at Blaine's arm, the creature, as you know, is the genetic Pokemon I created from a cell of a Mew. He added some human cells to the mix from his own arm. Alas, a backwash of renegade Mewtwo cells found their way into my arm. Yeah, this is crazy stuff that's not in the anime or the game. Soon this arm will be useless, and in the end, Mewtwo cells will control my entire body and take my life. Dear Lord. And Mewtwo, of course, is not done. He's still attacking. It is still attacking. Red gets access back to his Pokemon again, and the battle starts up again. And as you can see, Pikachu manages to do some trickery here, and they're able to get Mewtwo into the Master Ball. And once that is done, we have this little side quest thing here with Dratini. I call it a little side quest because really it is deviating from what everybody's wanting to see, which is the battle with Giovanni. And here is Giovanni. He realizes that Red really is that good. He is that guy. And they basically have a weird way of how they go about this gym battle. But it's like a competition of sorts. Things get serious. Giovanni here has a golem, and yeah, Red's using Snorlax. Eventually, Giovanni's saying he's gonna have to bring out his best Pokemon because he's using a Beedrill here at first too. But yeah, he's like, you're actually forcing me to use my best fighters, and he has, of course, the Nidos and Ditrio, Rhyhorn, Rhydon. And of course, as well as Golem. And here's Pikachu again. Pikachu's actually going to be able to take out a ground type like it's nothing. Because this Pikachu is OP. That's not how that should work, but of course, we know how things go. And so with that done, with the last badge, it's now time for the Pokemon League. Red, blue, and green all made it. I guess they got all the badges. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But they made it. Green's going to be first up. She's going to go against a mystery fighter, as you'll see here, although it's kind of easy to tell who it is. And she's got her Jigglypuff, but he's got a Spearow. And she gets mad and she throws out her Blastoise. And of course, Spearow drops a mirror move and drops Blastoise, and everybody finds out, of course, that that Squirtle was stolen by Green. But Professor Oak decides to go ahead and make her let's get the picture. He decides to go ahead and make her a legit trainer with the Pokedex and everything. And then we get to the main part of this, the last part, which is a Charizard and a champion, Red versus Blue. Not the YouTube series. They lead off with Charizard and Venusaur, as if it had been anything else. But Snorlax comes in. Then we got Machamp versus Snorlax. That's a hoss battle right there for sure. And it looks like Machamp has it. It chucks Snorlax like out of the stadium. As you'll see, like right there. And they think it's done. He thinks it's done, but here comes Snorlax back in with Double Edge. and just wipes him out. But we're not done. And here's the first appearance of the Elite Four, wondering what's going on. And Blue throws in his Ninetales. And of course with Ninetales, there's a good match advantage here with Poliwrath. Now we have it back to Charizard and Venusaur again. And as you'll see here through the course of the battle, we had the superheated water droplets from Poliwrath condensed into a cloud that's been charged with lightning by Pikachu's electric energy. And when that builds up enough energy to strike, Venusaur has a nasty, mighty solar beam. And Charizard basically is just done. Because Red worked together with his Pokemon as friends. His friendship always wins in anime and manga. And so, yes, Red beats Blue. Blue's going to head on down the road. And you can see the group there together. Red, Blue, and Green with their respective Pokemon. And with 8 badges, of course, and beating Blue, eventually Red's going to have to take on the Elite Four. And at the end here we show his Pokemon. Pikachu is level 51, Venusaur level 60, Poliwrath level 61, his boss Pokemon. Red currently is at 7 badges. I thought it was 8. I don't know where the 8th badge is then. But 71 Pokemon. Number of them caught. Red won the Pokemon League Championship. He still has a lot of Pokemon left to capture. So he is the Pokemon League champion, but there was the Elite Four. So this definitely went differently than I thought it would. But yeah, there's the 3 there. And then we see that his Gyarados was 48, Aerodactyl 41, Snorlax level 52. And they did have nicknames. But yeah, so not knowing how the rest of the story goes, I'm curious why he has 7 badges and the Pokemon Championship. He hasn't even faced the Elite Four, and there's 1 badge left, I would think. But yeah, that is the first collected volume of Pokemon Adventures with the first 3 volumes. And it was really cool to look through this. I'm going to read it in more detail later. And yeah, if you want to see more of them, let me know, because I will be buying them. But if this is something people want to see, I will keep reading them. And yeah, thanks for watching. The teaser that I placed on my community tab about the big Gundam-like model that I'm going to be building, that's going to be coming out on here in a couple days from this video. And yeah, and then we're just going to keep making videos from there. So until next time, take care everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. This is Deafening Silence saying goodbye.